Welcome to Shamrock Reddit Stories, entitled People Edition, where an entitled Karen mistakes OP's hoodie that was left to him by his deceased fiancée as store merchandise, and refuses to believe him that it is his and thinks that he is lying to her in order to buy it for himself. This one is from Mike Oxenfair, and it's called Deal With It. Okay, consider it dealt with. A friend of mine told me about something that happened to him yesterday, and knowing I'm on Reddit, he gave me permission to share it. My friend Richard works at an outlet village, which is a shopping center of sorts with lots of shops and excellent parking. He is a parking enforcement officer and a decent guy. Generally, if someone parks in the wrong place, he will give them a chance to move rather than ticketing them. On to the story. Yesterday, he's at work when this middle-aged woman tears into the car park really fast and slams her car into a disabled parking bay. He approaches the car from the back as the woman and her son are getting out. He says to the woman that she can't park there as it is a disabled space. She replies, "We'll be 5 minutes. Deal with it," without even looking around to see or even acknowledge who spoke to her. So he dealt with it by giving her a ticket. £80 fine. He said it felt good. That was just a quick and easy story about a Karen getting her just desserts. Good job, Richard. Seamus and I salute you. This one is from Captain Penguins 1, and it's called Woman Calls the Cops on a Store That's Not Even Open. I work in a bakery in my city. They opened up a new location and asked me if I wanted to transfer there. I said, sure, and today was my first day there. At first, my job was to mainly train the new hires, so I didn't really do much. However, since we can't keep anything the trainees made and the baked goods will go bad before the bakery officially opens, we gave some nearby stores a box of cookies. Well, a woman who was shopping next door saw this and wanted some for herself. We didn't have any, since they were all given to the businesses, and she was told to come back in about an hour when the next group of trainees came in. So that's what she did. However, there were still no cookies ready since we took a little long on the mixers. She was furious and called the cops. Now keep in mind that this store hasn't even officially opened yet, and there's even a big sign on the door saying the grand opening isn't until next week. The cops never showed up, and honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if they started laughing while on the phone with her. You can't demand something from a store that's not even open yet, and all over a few free cookies. Lady, go next door and get a pack for $1 if you have that bad of a sweet tooth. All the trainees in my group got to take an extra box home. Seamus and I are shaking our heads. This one's from Kyber Volk, and it's called Do Not Take My Memory of Her. Before I begin this story, there is need of some context. I'm a male in my 30s living north of the state that this happened in. The story took place about 6 years ago, so my memory may be a bit fuzzy. I had only fallen in love with one woman, whom we'll call Samantha. Now, Samantha was perfect in every way. She was smart, funny, beautiful, and we had very close interests in the same things, such as the same type of music and food taste and more. Plus, we enjoyed the casual live-action role-playing. She and I met in high school and had fallen in love months later. She was 4'11" and I am 5'11", but our shirts and hoodies fit one another. This will be important later. We were together for about 5 years, but she developed stage 4 neurofibromatosis, a nerve cancer, and died 2 months after being admitted into the hospital. What she had left that was in my possession are memories, and the only thing I have to keep some connection with her is I live across the country from where her grave is. Now on to the story. At the time this happened, I was in good old Southern California, dealing with the blazing heat and the burning sun. However, I was about to be moving to a cooler state, so I was doing some preparations. I went to several stores that sold cooler weather clothes and had no luck finding things that I liked. So I decided to go to one of those hand-me-down stores that you can donate old stuff to and buy stuff from. Hint, it begins with a G. I was in a white t-shirt, blue jeans, combat boots, and for some reason, a My Chemical Romance black parade hoodie. I'm currently wearing it as I type this out. This hoodie was special to me because it belonged to Samantha. It was old. Holes were on the shoulders from homemade spikes she placed there to look more goth with it, as well as on the sleeves, but the zipper worked and it kept me warm. Perfect for those chilly transit buses in the town I was in. Once I got to the store, I began to browse. Now this particular day was very hot and the AC barely worked, so I took my hoodie off and tied it around my waist by the sleeves. While searching, I found this nice tan trench coat that was for sale, $25. Not bad for a used coat. It was in perfect condition. Slipping the hoodie off my waist, I set it down on the shelf nearby so I could try the coat on. I liked it and wanted to take it, so I slid it off and draped it over my arm. I turned to grab my hoodie and it was gone. I looked on the ground and all around and it was nowhere to be found. I took the trench coat that I was going to buy with me and was about to go to the register, and that's where I found it. My hoodie, in the hands of one of them. A Karen. She had the exact look you'd expect of one. Blonde hair, messy makeup, skin that looks as if the wrinkles were ironed out, and a face that said, "I want to speak to your manager's manager." She had taken my hoodie to the front and was going to purchase it. I stepped forward, and this is how the conversation went, to the best of my memory. Me. "Excuse me, ma'am, but I believe you have my hoodie." Karen. "Your hoodie? This is mine as soon as I buy it. I couldn't find a price tag, so I'm going to ask how much for it." Me. "No, you see, that hoodie is mine. I set it on the shelf to try on this coat." I proceeded to show her the trench coat. Karen. "No, it was on the shelf, so it's for sale." Me. "No, ma'am, it belongs to me." Karen. "What are you talking about? Are you trying to steal it from me because you want it? I found it first." Me. "Please give it back. It belonged to my fiancé who—" Karen cutting me off. "No, I will not give you the hoodie." She screamed those words and drew attention from multiple people. One of the store associates notices the commotion and steps forward. She speaks softly. "Hey, is everything okay over here?" Before I could answer, Karen cuts me off, shouting and pointing an accusing finger at me, saying, "This boy tried to take this jacket from me and I want to buy it. He tried to steal from me." I explained. "The hoodie belongs to me. I had it with me when I first came in and took it off to try on this coat. The hoodie belonged to my fiancé who died of cancer 3 years ago." Karen shouts, "Liar! You only want it because I have it." The employee turns to Karen and explains, "Ma'am, there is no need to shout." She turns to me and says, "Can you prove that it is yours?" By this time, a manager was called to come to the front to get an understanding of the situation. I nod and pull out my phone, finding a picture of Samantha wearing the hoodie with me in the picture, and showed it to her. The employee nods and turns to Karen. "Ma'am, please return the hoodie to him." Karen. No, I will not. I found it on the shelf and I will not leave without it." By this time, the manager had heard enough and police were called. 20 minutes later, they arrive and Karen is still ranting on how unfair she is being treated and that she will get them all fired for trying to force her to give up my hoodie. The officer pulled me aside and I explained my side while another took her statement. I showed the officer the picture and explained the hoodie belonged to my fiancé who died and it meant a lot to me. It's one of the few memories I have left of her. Then the officers were taken back to view security footage. And what did they find? Me coming into the store with the hoodie around my waist and Karen taking it while I was trying the coat on. A few minutes later, Karen is forced to give me back my hoodie and was told to leave. While being escorted out, she flips me off and stomps out. I got my hoodie back, and the manager apologized for the inconvenience and even offered to let me have the trench coat for free. I declined because this company makes its money off of the purchases here, but I settled for a 25% discount off of the coat, which I then used the change to buy a cold Mountain Dew. I couldn't care less if you steal from me, but do not steal my memories of her. I feel that the entitled Karen was so certain that OP was lying to her about the hoodie is because that is her mindset, and that is exactly what she would do to get what she wanted. It's much more plausible to her that OP is lying. It took me a while and several incidents in my own life to discover that someone's behavior is typically driven by their mindset. In her reality, people lie and scheme to get what they want. Full disclosure here, if you haven't noticed, when I leave a somewhat long comment about the previous story, it's accompanied by a visual of reminding you to click the like, subscribe, and notification buttons. I really don't like to leave much commentary, as I don't want to bore you with my take on the stories that I provide. I just feel awkward to blurt right out and ask you to click and click and click. These commentaries of mine allow you time to click without losing concentration on the next story. Well, if I haven't lost you by now, here's the next story. Oh, and if you get a chance, comment on whether the click the buttons visual accompanied by the after story comment is okay or too annoying. I need constructive criticism almost as much as I need the clicks. I've heard tell that if you aren't growing, you are shrinking comparatively. This one is from Peleus PD, and it's called Entitled Foreigner Thinks Everyone Will Understand His Language Just Because He is Screaming, and Got Scared Away by South American Manners. So, this is from 4 or 5 years ago, and I just remembered while reading some of the other posts. I'm from Brazil, and was living in the biggest city of the country at the time. Even with the huge presence of English in our daily lives, most of the people do not speak or understand the language, as it's their right in a country where the official language is not frickin' English. This all happened in a well-known coffee shop. I was waiting in line to give my order when a man, obviously a foreigner, was shouting at the staff that he ordered without whipped cream. The staff, a lady around her 20s and much smaller than the man, was scared AF and not understanding a bloody word. Seeing what's going on, I thought I would try to help, thinking that the man was probably frustrated with no one understanding him. I approached the man and politely told him that the lady didn't speak English and that if he wished, I could translate his words. He turns to me and shouts that he does not need any help. He then returns to the lady and screams all over again, as if screaming all over again would suddenly work. Here's the thing. Even though I'm a polite guy, I'm also quite large from gym workouts, and I'm also quite aware of the international reputation that my country has. Getting tired of seeing that entitled foreigner treating someone so badly, I just whispered in his ear, "You know, talking like that to someone around here could be fatal." The man gets paler than paper, wide eyes looking at me, and just quickly leaves the building. The staff lady eventually calms down, and I finally got my chai latte. Smiley face. Way to put the fear of your culture into the entitled foreigner, OP. That's it for this one, folks. Until next time.